party in a car.
Yeah, that's RC, the Transformer. She's like that pink Transformer.
Yep.
So yeah, it's fun. I get to put them with machines. Like all through all of My Little Pony, we haven't got to do any sort of like mechanics or anything like that because it's all almost like steampunk era. They just have steam engines. So yeah, they're in cars and lasers and all sorts of stuff.
Well, everything's powered by friendship.
Yeah, that's the power source that everybody's after now.
And now it's powered by punching Starscream in the face.
It's
right environmentally friendly.
The kisser.
Oh, that's marvelous. So I want to remind folks watching that if you go to the Discord chat and go to main stage questions, I'll be happy to pass those along, and we can answer them as best we can. But Katie, are there any works you'd like to hint at?
Well, I am currently working on another Star Wars book. A big, if anyone doesn't know, I draw Star Wars kids books. And this is a nice, big, crazy one that's kind of the most iconic moments from all of the movies.
All 9?
So it's been really fun, but it's very labor intensive. But I've gotten to draw a lot of really fun, crazy stuff. I've spent 2 weeks penciling and inking that book alone. And now it's all off for approvals, and who knows what's going to happen. I mean, that entire publishing department's working from home. But other than that, I've just been plugging away. My first issue of the Avengers just came out, so there's a bunch of Avengers stuff coming out. It's super fun. The first issue, Thor and Ant-Man break a Precious Moments figurine that was on Black Widow's desk, and they go to the flea market to go try and find another one and meet up with Loki. It's very silly.
That sounds so wholesome.
I know. And then in the second issue, I bring back Paste Pot Pete, who turns out he works as a 5th grade elementary school teacher, and when he sees Captain America there for a hero day, decides it's his time to shine and go back to villainy. And my only note from Marvel was, did somebody approve this?
No.
Someone did. Before the other editorial team took over, so I got to do it. And then, and then it's just nothing special on Webtoon, which has been crazy because it's my baby. That's my project. And, I kind of stepped away from My Little Pony to do this project a couple of years ago. And now season 3, which is, I call it book 3, they call it season 3, previews in less than 2 weeks. And I've got, this is chapter 10 sitting here on my computer right now, so I've got a nice backlog. And I mean, we're at almost 400,000 subscribers. That's insane.
Congratulations.
It's amazing for a comic that I thought was weird and kind of just my vanity. This is just, I want to make this. I just want to make a comic with a radish and a bunch of weird teenagers. That's been great. So.
Excellent. It turns out that the main stage questions just opened up. Okay. But people posted from the main chat. This is a question. What's been your favorite issue to work on? All 3 of you.
Me? The one I'm working on right now is awesome, but I can't tell anybody that. Well, not too much. It involves Scootaloo. Scootaloo is my favorite of the 3, so...
Oh, there you go. Respect.
So...
Her and her murdered parents.
You're making me think of My Little Ties and his Scootaloo parents card. He just lasered out 2 outlines behind her.
God!
Andy and I have a running joke that Scootaloo is like Batman, and every night she goes and she curls up in the chalk outline of her parents in an alley.
Whoa!
The pearls, and that one day she's going to be Batman.
Oh, My Little Grimdark.
I think my favorite one, I was just looking through pages the other day, and we did one, me and Tom Zoller, that was about Pinkie Pie finds herself in Discord's dimension and ends up taking over because she's the dimension tries to make her crazier and she makes it crazier, and so it becomes this big problem. And it's sort of like this Apocalypse Now situation where they have to go in and find her, and when they finally get to her, she's just crazier than they could have possibly imagined. She turns into the Princess of Chaos, And so she has this. There's like this full alicorn style Pinkie Pie in the story. That one was a lot of fun. It had like a lot of imaginative stuff that I got to draw. I like that one.
And you got to put in that fun callback to Nightmare Rarity, even with a Hi Sarah in the story.
Oh yeah. I did. Hi Amy.
Hi Amy.
Yeah, because Amy Meverson created the Nightmare Rarity character, and so I just ripped off her drawing, and then I gave her a little shout out in the background.
Let's see, Katie, what was your favorite issue?
Well, as you know, with being more of the writer on everything, I think that my favorite one that I've written is how Rarity got her groovy back.
Oh, flatgrass and wheat seed.
Yeah, like all the way kind of back in the beginning. I like doing the just almost like character pieces more. Like I also really like Zen and the Art of Gazebo Repair with Big Mac. I thought it was really fun to write 2 issues of Big Mac, just trying to do a task, like just do a thing. And I loved when I pitched that issue, because it's a 2-issue arc, to Bobby over at IDW. I basically said, I'm going to write 2 issues about Big Mac trying to get a box of nails. And he wrote back, why? And I wrote back, it'll work. And he just wrote back, okay. Which really sums up my relationship with the editorial team.
But it's okay because you nailed it.
But no, I love how those ones always turn out.
I think Bobby was really going through some stuff around that time too, because I did covers for that, and I remember I was just super burnt out. Like there was so many covers back in those days, and we're doing issues at the same time. And I sent him this cover layout that was just Big Macintosh's head, and it just said "Yup" on it. And he was just like, I mean, it's not doing anything for me, but if that's what you want to do, that's fine. So I think he was just sort of like, he also was feeling the burn of, because that was like 6 months in or 7 months in to the craziness of it. So it was just like, yeah, fine.
I think it was also right after that series of issues is the start of when Hasbro, I think, actually started reading all the scripts.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning, back when we were flying fancy free, we were kind of just getting away with everything, and then all of a sudden it was like notes, and it was like, oh no, someone's actually reading them now. No. It was problematic.
All right, we have a question from N30 for all of you. Name a comic, a book, a creative work of some sort that really inspired and pushed you to become an artist yourself. Let's start with Tony.
Oh, good. No pressure.
A
creative work that inspired me to become a creator myself. Well, the thing that sort of pushed me to actually make comics was the movie and then the books, American Splendor. Because
That's not a good goal.
Well, no, I don't want to, I don't want to live in a house full. No, I do live in a house full of just records and books. Shit. Well,
family program, sir.
Sorry. Yeah, but that was a movie about a guy that just made his own comics about himself. And in the movie, they had sort of the thesis that comics is just words and pictures. And it's sort of like I had made comics before, but I hadn't ever thought about just like, I always thought you had to get hired to make comics. Even though I read independent comics, I thought you had to sort of be given permission. And in the movie, that guy just up and made his own comics, and I was like, well, shit, I could do it. Shoot, I could do that. Like I can draw. And so that's sort of what got me into comics. That's sort of what inspired me. And just the idea that it's just words and pictures, and a comic can be about anything, was sort of a revelation to me.
Nice. Katie, how about yourself?
Really, I can narrow it down to 2 things. One being Calvin and Hobbes. I really wanted to be a newspaper cartoonist when I was a kid, and I went to college to be an illustrator, and then all of a sudden newspapers were dying. And then the second one is really easy to think of because I just handed off my copy of it to my 9-year-old today because she said she was bored out of her mind and she loves comic books, is Bone. by Jeff Smith, which is the comic book that made me realize that not all comic books needed to look like the Marvel or DC aesthetic. And all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, this guy draws stuff that's beautiful and organic and wonderful, but it's still very cute and soft, and that's what I wanted my work to be like. And now I get to sit here and watch my oldest, who loves to read graphic novels. I'm just handing her everything that I loved as a kid. I was like, here you go. So I've just created this mini me, and I was like, this is how you get a liberal arts major. This is terrifying. Not good.
And Trish, we saw earlier that you have very Don Bluth inspired artwork. Was he a big influence?
My inspiration for
It needs to be about
it's not
20%
necessarily
cooler.
comic inspiration, but illustration and stuff in general comes from my love of animation. Don Bluth, Disney Company, Warner Brothers, they all had some really good stuff in the
It
in
needs
the
to be
80s and
about
90s,
20%
and it's
cooler.
just where my aesthetic lives. So of course, My Little Pony comes to my brain naturally. The 80s ponies, and we skip that one in the middle, and then we go to Gen 4. But Don Bluth, I actually took an online art, I guess, thing with him, and he said nice things about my artwork, and I was just ready to just leave this earth. It was great. Yeah, Don Bluth.
It's all
Amazing.
mine.
What was that like? Was it like instructive? Was it
At-
was it like a seminar?
Improvement
Well, at the
done.
time, it was more we were joined up, paired up in teams, and
It
we're
needs to be
trying
about
to create a
20%
cartoon.
cooler.
I got as far as animating a walk cycle of a little bunny, and it was very, very hard. I love animation,
It
but my
needs to be about
brain does
20%
not work right,
cooler.
so I can't do it. I mean, I understand it. I know the process. I know timing. I can do it. I can do it in my brain, but like when I go pen to paper or pencil to paper, nope, it just goes away.
Yeah, it's a lot to keep straight. I went to school for animation too, and the sort of like math you're doing in your head all the time is it's a lot. It's a whole lot more than comics, where you can sort of just like get the image out and then move on to the next one and not have to. I mean, there's some math like who's speaking in this panel and where you're putting that, like the layout of it and keeping everything straight, continuity and stuff. But like animation is like that times 1,000.
It's like a next level.
Did someone say continuity?
Yeah.
It's like a next level gift, and that's where I always actually wanted to go, was animation, and I didn't quite make it there. I made it as far as illustration, and everything I know is self-taught or learned from a book. So as far as like Drawn to Life, amazing. It taught me a lot. There's a Warner Brothers archive book. Dang the name, but I can't remember it. But I have it. It's got like an animation cell of Bugs Bunny on the front of it, and I still have that book. I got that book when I was 9. I still have that book.
I have that book sitting on my shelf.
Yay!
Oh, nice.
You have it.
I have an astounding collection of animation art books for someone that doesn't know anything about animation.
Oh, my Don Bluth book, my art of The Secret of Nim, and it's got a lot about his video game, Dragon's Lair, stuff like that. I just love looking at that stuff. It had like an organic roughness to it that was really still so polished and very hard to replicate. But I don't know. It's just very inspirational to me.
You gotta send me a picture of that Don Bluth book. I've got the storyboard one of his, but I don't have the one that's about Secret of Nim.
And just
I
now
will
you're making me
seek that
intrigued.
out. Yeah.
I don't know about that one.
I think that answers a question we had on deck from Glycon Craft, who was looking about specific resources for understanding facial expressions.
You've got
What's
one of
that?
these to look at and a mirror.
Yeah.
What's
Or
that
he-
dude? Preston Blair? Is that the animation
Yes.
book guy?
Yup.
Yeah. His animation book has great facial stuff too, and it sort of breaks down how to translate your own face into the cartoon face.
I have that book too.
Yeah, we got that book. Come on, Trish.
Yeah.
It needs to be about 20% cooler.
Trish, I think this is. We talked a little bit about you getting hired to do covers, and that a lot of work went into that, and people are still wondering what's the best way to try and achieve that goal. Any tips for folks with specific actions, do's, and don'ts?
Um, I would say just keep putting your work out there. I I happened to get noticed by somebody. You know, I tried to submit. You know, and you can try that too. I tried to submit artwork. As a complete noob, I had no idea what I should do and what I shouldn't do. So I just, spam emailing IDW. Hey guys, how are you? Here's some of my latest work. It was the education came in, making friends that already are there, I guess, and that whole friendship thing. It actually does work.
Magic.
Yes, it's magic.
Magic.
Yes. So I was friends with Sarah anyway before that. She's just so cool, and you just never know who's looking, I guess.
You don't, and the way I got involved in My Little Pony is very much like that, because basically, like I said, it's Bobby liked my webcomic, and I had tweeted after I had watched some of the new show. I was like, hey, I really like the new My Little Pony show. And he contacted me based on that, and he was like, oh, you like it? Do you want to write it? And that was my email. That was the email saying, do you want to write it? Based solely off of that tweet. And then I basically went to Andy, who's been my friend for, over a decade. And I said, I was just asked, do I want to write it? Do you want to draw it?
Nice.
And
so a team was born.
The team was born, and now he can never get rid of me, no matter what.
But that also comes from like if someone else had tweeted that didn't already have a body of work or comic books going, it would have just been a tweet that sort of went by and flew off into the ether.
Yeah.
So part of it also is like if you want to draw comics or if you want to make comics or draw covers, should be making comics, or like if you want to work for My Little Pony, maybe try and do covers for something, like do covers for whatever you can first.
Yeah.
So that when My Little Pony looks at you, they go like, oh, this person already can turn in stuff and can do the work and stuff like that. Because there's a lot of people who do fan art and do artwork and stuff that's great, like way better than me. But can they do it on a deadline? Can they, can they handle emails? Can they handle instructions and stuff like that? So when they look at you, they need to be, because they're already like the people that make the comics, the editors and the production staff and the people that do approvals and all this, like they have a whole other thing they're doing that day. They're actually making the comics. So when they get time to go out and look for somebody else, they need to be able to see right away, like, oh, this person is somebody like already makes comics, they can do it. So that part, I'm already safe, So that's helpful.
Yeah, they got to see you as a cog that they can fit into the machine.
Yeah.
It needs to be about 20% cooler.
Manage your email.
Oh yeah.
Don't
No, I
get
let
buried.
Ryan do that.
Use your fancy
Well,
magic to muddy
I
the issue.
as a noob managed this email, and that was very important. Just trying to be professional and speak to them like, oh, you need this right away. I mean, my artwork for the comic has been used on several other things. I think they used it for SDCC one year, and
Oh yeah, that was a real a learning experience, because our contracts are with IDW, but like once we do the artwork, it's just owned by Hasbro immediately.
Yeah.
So when we were first doing the comics, it was just like immediately everything was T-shirts and bags and carpets. It's just like,
you're like, wow, it's a blanket now. Why is it a blanket?
Yeah, I got that blanket.
So I know both Katie and Trish have watched the show. Tony, do you check out the actual show, or is it mostly
My Little Pony?
your own work? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I watched the show. I haven't seen every episode, but when I'm working on a thing that involves particular characters, I'll go in and do all the like the research. I'll do like a wiki, like which ones do I especially need to watch for this, so I'm not missing stuff. I mean to catch up all the way. Maybe during this pandemic, I'll sit there and finish up watching it. I haven't seen the very end yet. I know what
Spend the
happens.
apocalypse watching the last season of My Little Pony.
Yeah. Well, that way, if it all ends, I won't have lived an incomplete life.
There you go.
And plus, if I start working on season 10, I don't want to be doing, season 9 stuff in season 10. That would be very embarrassing.
Yeah, see, I have a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old that are both little girls, so I am well versed in ponies. Even if I didn't work on it, I would know everything about My Little Pony.
Well, and speaking of that knowledge, when it comes to drawing, say, background characters, Tony does his research, and I appreciate that you keep aware of all the background pony myth. And Katie, when you and Andy were working on Pony Comics, there were a ton of background references and Easter eggs. Do you have a lot of control over who's put in the backgrounds or what is put in the backgrounds?
Well, for that, it's mostly
It
Andy.
needs to be about
I mean,
20%
that's
cooler.
almost all Andy and what he's doing, and that's to keep himself entertained. That's why there's so many Magnum PI pony appearances. But amazingly, I know he started putting him and I in the comics a lot, just in the background, and then they put us on the show, which was so fun. It was so cute. And now it's like that's the thing I get to like hang my hat on with my kids. It was like, look at me, I'm a pony. I'm an official pony. It was like, what have you done with your life? You're 6. I'm a pony.
Well, they put other stuff, like they put your D&D game into the show too.
Oubliettes and Ogres. I created that for the comics, and then they put that in the show, which was insane and amazing. So that we've seen a lot of little nods from the stuff that has been in the comics in the show. I don't know, did they ever put Tibbles in? That's what
Sadly, we never got our Tibbles
No
for Princess
Tibbles.
Luna.
just even like a possum just like in the background of a shot that she was in would have made me happy.
Can say that's him, like the way people say Captain Rex is that one guy in Return of the Jedi. There he is. It's Tibbles.
There he is.
And I'll try to ring up Big Jim later. Stop playing possum. Put it in the possum.
So, but yeah, it's the fact that we were acknowledged a little bit in the show every once in a while was really nice and really sweet. So, because I mean, I worked on ponies for so long. I was the pony lady for the longest time.
Listen
what's that
closely.
like?
This is important.
It's leaving or being the pony lady.
Being the pony lady. I'm the pony lady still. This thing seems to go on and on.
Chris, we have a request if you could share your sketching once again.
Who, me? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
Hope
Now,
you're still working in the background, Trish.
that's no way to refer to Applejack.
Yeah.
Now all the fans hate me.
Hey.
But
He's the best background pony.
oh, I actually ticked off the staff making that joke one time. Now, with background references and in jokes, is there any intellectual property, Hasbro, IDW, or otherwise, that you'd like to cross over with Pony, either as a gag, or actually do a legit crossover?
Gem and the holograms.
Huh?
That'd be
Oh
fun.
yeah, that would be all right. I have an issue with when it's people though, because
Yeah.
I don't want to know what size the ponies really are.
No.
That's been my main issue with the Transformers, is that I keep changing the scale all the time on these pages, just because sometimes because it's impossible not to.
I think
I
it's
just-
the thought of them being actual horse size makes them
It's
terrifying.
disgusting. Yeah, it's
just
gross.
awful. It's the worst.
I always like to think that the little in My Little Pony is like an active part of the title. So like they're little, like I think they're like the size of my pinky thumbnail, or something. Like they're just very tiny.
Gotta be like pocket sized.
Yeah, or like the size of the little blind bag ponies that you get. Like I
Yeah.
like the idea that they're that size. But
That's
if
totally
that was the true size of them when I'm drawing them next to these enormous robots, they would just look like gnats. So I have to just sort of fudge it here and there. But luckily there's no people. There's people in Transformers, and there's My Little Pony and My Little Pony Transformers. So like if you do the math, you can figure out how big they are in this crossover, But I think seeing them next to people is the part where it's like, "Ugh, this is gross. Like this does not work for me. You know, they like in the original My Little Pony, they had people, and so that you knew how big those ponies were. But these ones, they have their own whole world, and they're whatever size they are. So if you were to cross them over with something, I feel like it has to be another animal or like another something.
I don't know. Now I'm thinking after finishing the Tiger King documentary on Netflix, Joe Exotic and him keeping a park full of My Little Ponies.
I like that.
Terrifying.
Oh, dear.
I mean, not for the ponies.
Just his gun toting
We're
camo.
we're fast approaching the end of the panel, and unfortunately we have to have a high turnaround for the next. But one last quick question for Katie: What is the name of your cat?
Which one? I have 4.
List them off rapid fire.
iPod is 20, Teeny Weeny, Dr. Spachemin, and Nakatomi Tower.
I love Dr. Spaceman.
Nice. All right. Then I have one final question for each of you, but due to time constraints, we're going to limit it to one sentence. In this time where comics are on a hiatus, and future still unknown.
Speak for yourself. I do a webcomic.
There you go. Keep doing what are ways fans can support their favorite artists, writers, creatives within the medium?
It needs to
Starting
be
with
about 20%
Trish.
cooler. It's an improvement.
Well, if they have a store, go buy something from them. Like an online store, I guess, if they have an online store. Otherwise, I mean, I guess
It needs to be
share,
about 20% cooler.
you know, obviously give all the credit where
It
it's
needs to be
due
about
and
20%
share
cooler.
properly and and just be vocal that you like their stuff. I mean, artists sometimes just need to hear that their stuff is good. I know we're our own worst critics here. Kitty cat.
Yeah,
Excellent.
luckily for us, we're all sort of still working right now. Like Trish is working on a pony issue. I'm working on ponies, and I've got another book that I'm working on right after that. So luckily, it hasn't slowed down yet. If this thing goes on for 6 months or whatever, it could get real dicey. But I'm having right now, because conventions have gone away, I'm having a sale on my site on original art at tonyfleece.com. It's 25% off everything until this thing is over. But for this convention day specifically, if you're on this feed, if you're listening right now, you can put in the promo code PonyFest, promo code PonyFest, and instead of 25%, it'll be 35%. So if you're watching this and you were thinking about buying some stuff at this convention, if you get it from tonyfleece.com, I just put pages up last night from My Little Pony 28, which came out this week. So there's new stuff on there, and it's super cheap right now. But yeah, and then if you have a shop where you usually buy your comics from, see if they're selling online.
Or if they're doing no contact pickup, but do they have to be closed? Because
Most
know,
places
my
have
shop-
to be closed now.
I was just saying,
I'm sorry, I have to cut in because we are at a
It
hard
needs to be
stop
about
point.
20%
Katie,
cooler.
just one sentence real quick. What's the best way people can support yourself and other creatives?
Just read my comic, Nothing Special on Webtoon. That's all I need. It's
There-
free.
There we go. Well, I want to thank all of you for sharing your time and your talent and some awesome previews. And I don't know when the next season of My Little Pony in comic form will come out, but we're all looking forward to it. And to the other creative works you put out there.
Same.
same.
Thanks for
Thanks
having
much.
me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And AV team, if you want to ping us when we're offline. Throw the link up in main panels.
Could I get a link to the Picardo wherever this chat room is?
Hold on a second. Fizz, we've got a form we're engineering for it. We're gonna link it in main stage and main stage questions.
Okay, on the Discord channel?
Yeah, in the COD chat.
Okay.
So nobody can hear me right now?
I can hear
We
you.
can hear
Yeah,
you.
we can hear you.
Okay.
Can I be heard?
I hear you
Yep.
before.
Oh,
Yes.
that's.
Okay.
All right, we are definitely live on stream.
Hooray! Welcome,
All right.
everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Oh,
Working
So-
on some.
This is the sketches from a hat panel here at Ponyfest Online. I think we still have a little bit of setup to do. I mean, I don't know if the link for submitting your suggestions has been passed around yet. But it needs to be so that we can.
One of you
start
posted
collecting
in
your guys'
Telegram, so I can share. Is that it?
Sure.
You're doing that thing again where your voice becomes the Royal Canterlot voice with reverb.
There's the link to submit.
Meanwhile, I'm fighting with my microphone. It's like, oh, look, a pop filter. Hello, everyone. Meet the pop filter. It's not quite as cute as a cat that walks onto stream, but...
Oh, here we go. Okay.
All right, cool. We have gotten the link posted in stream chats.
All right, great.
So yeah, Bobby D, do you want to give the intro on what this is?
Yeah, I can do that. Okay, so I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the improv game from Whose Line Is It Anyway, called Sketches from a Hat, or Scenes from a Hat in their case, where members of the audience submit scenes that they'd like to see acted out. Well, we're doing the exact same thing. It's just going to be pony art instead. So whatever scene you want to have sketched out, literally, we're going to have you put that into our little suggestion link there. And all of the people on this panel are going to select them at random and then try to draw as many of them as we can. In the past, we've gotten through quite a bit of art, so I'm optimistic that we can get through a good number here. But yeah, that's typically how it goes. There are a few rules to what suggestions you can put into the hat. They're detailed on the submission page for the Google survey. But just in case you skip over that kind of thing like I do, rule number 0 is please only submit once. First of all, we can't handle more than one input. And second of all, we want to get these drawings to you. If you submit a suggestion and one of us draws it, we want to get the file to you. So please also include your Discord handles so that we can send it off to you if you want it. But so rule 0, please don't repeat submit. Rule number 1 then would be no OCs because we don't have any references, so we can't draw your OC. I'm sorry. Rule 2 would be please limit the scenes that you want to have drawn to just 2 characters, because if we have more than that, then it gets really hard to speed draw these, and it takes a lot longer. And we want to get as much art as we can done. And then rule 3 is going to be to keep things PG-13. We want these to be, funny, but not particularly on the line. So that means, mild drug and alcohol references are totally acceptable, but try not to push it past that. And then beyond that, whatever you can come up with is something that could potentially be drawn. So go ahead and write one in there, give us your Discord handle, throw it in, and then we should all get started here pretty darn soon.
Oh gosh, I did not realize I did not have 2 people added yet. Hi, Silpho.
no.
Hi, Dawnfire. Welcome.
There you go.
Howdy.
Hey, Don.
Bob, do you want to have everyone run down and give quick introductions?
Yep, that was the next
15
thing.
seconds each.
So, I am Bob Dude Zero. I draw a lot of Sweetie Belle, or at least I used to. I'm in veterinary to kind of drop the art thing for it, but every so often I get the opportunity to come back and draw some cute horses with my friends like this, and I'm really grateful to do it. So that's me. Whoever wants to go next can go next. NC, Don.
I'm Will Funkman, and I run blogs such as I Draw Rare Toy and Will Funkman, and that's about it. And I'm just happy to be invited and draw some cool sketches today.
Hell yeah.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi guys, my name is NC. I also draw the ponies sometimes, and it's an honor to be here one more time with the gang.
It's always nice to have the crew back together.
Just like old times.
That's right.
View,
Anybody else?
aka View Restifer. I do horses and horse accessories. And I'm glad to be here.
I'm Assassin Monkey. Might see me around as AM as well. I get to join in on this because I don't do tradition art, so usually I don't get to join in. So, woo, exclusive.
Yeah, this is the first time you've joined us for one of these. We always invite you.
Yeah, and
you're right.
Yeah, I make just digital. People might know me from my Applejack paintings and such.
Yep.
Towards the realistic style, but I gotta do cartoony, faster stuff now. Woo. I practiced for this.
Anybody else? I think we're missing Dawn, and then
Yeah.
You want to introduce yourself real quick?
Sure. I am Silpho, and I draw tuna mostly, and I have no clue what I'm doing right now to get Zoom to work.
Are you in here? It looks
Yeah.
like it.
I see views. Beautiful drawing, but I don't know how to get everyone else's.
Yeah, we have to switch between screens. We can't have everybody up at once, as it turns out.
Ah.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right, but so I think that's just about everything for housekeeping. How about we get started then? Yeah.
Let's roll.
It looks like we've already got quite a few submissions. That's good. All right, so if you guys want to just pick one at random, announce which one you're drawing, and then delete it from the list. But don't delete their Discord handle, that's for sure.
Oh, the bot, if you're using it, auto deletes.
The bot?
Cool.
The one sheer coded.
Oh, gotcha.
All right, so about this bot, I clicked on it, and I got this /start. Now what?
Type /prompt.
Ah.
Alright.
As you can see, everyone, we found a way to recreate the actual From a Hat experience online.
Sweet.
How do I...
You need to click the bot and then type it in a message with the bot.
Wait, where...
This bot?
Oh.
Where's the
The
bot?
pinned
Where's the
message
bot?
in the channel.
Oh. Oh my god.
Sorry,
Okay.
this is also...
So much technology happening.
Yeah, for real.
The bot
So,
is
Wait, pinned to which channel? Discord or Telegram?
Telegram.
There you go.
Oh my God.
Telegram.
It gave me a prompt. Am I allowed to draw the prompt?
Yes.
You are
Read it out.
supposed to
What did
draw
you
a prompt.
Hey, it's up to you, Don. Draw at your own discretion, your own risk.
You
All
can
right.
read it aloud when you start or when you finish.
Okay. Thank you, sure.
So, like, are we not streaming what we're actually doing? Because, like, I don't have my Picardo up.
So what we're doing is we can only share one screen at a time. So when you've got
Gotcha.
a drawing done, go ahead and say something in stream
needs to be
chat,
about 20%
and that'll
core.
let us know, basically to alert whoever's up to stop sharing and let you take over.
Right.
Wait, but
well,
I'm not drawing digitally, so I guess I'm just kind of.
Oh
Do
yeah.
you have your webcam up?
I have a webcam.
Oh, well, that should work.
That's the same thing.
Okay. I guess I'll just stream my Picardo because I can. All right, start streaming. Okay, now my Picardo should be live again. If anyone wants to just watch me.
Now, not being able to see everyone's all at the same time adds a certain sense of drama. We don't know which artist is working on which suggestion until it's unveiled in all of its glory.
I guess that's fair.
I suppose.
We can do a drum roll. It can be very, very exciting.
Yeah, doing it digitally is pretty cool.
That was so much faster.
Yeah, this is very different.
Yeah, right. That's what I was
I'm
thinking.
I'm way slower.
Real?
I don't usually work that fast. I think.
Yeah.
For this, I was practicing. Like, oh gosh, gotta go.
I think I'm probably gonna do like definitely the least number of drawings, but I'll do my best. Speaking of which, well, I guess okay. So wait a minute, are we announcing the drawings that we're working on once we finish it, or are we announcing them when we draw
You
them?
can do either or. You can announce when you finish or when you start. It depends on if you want to leave it as a surprise.
Okay.
I'm incredibly excited about the prompt I got. It seems to be like my theme of the day. I'll just say that. If you've watched my stream earlier, for some reason, I cannot get enough of this particular prompt. So
I'm all about the
kinda
element
glad.
of surprise. I think the audience might not want to hear what it is until the grand unveiling.
Okay.
It's up to you. You're the artists.
I'll
All
keep a
right. Well,
secret.
if we're, I mean, our
needs to be
stream's
about
already hidden, so we
20%
might as well
core.
just go with the theme, yeah. Though, what do we want to talk about now?
Well, we
I guess we
generally
could
do
do
questions from the audience at this
Yeah, we
point.
do
so-
general Q&A.
Oh yeah, Foley, do you want to see if you can spy some questions here?
Certainly.
And Discord mods.
Well, I have a
if you wanna
question
go
for you,
ahead.
Dex. When was the last time you slept?
Last night, I got 4 hours of sleep.
Oh, a whole 4 hours. Well
Hey,
done.
that's more than my AV team. They got like half that.
Was it right after the park?
No.
Damn.
I was up until 3:30 in the morning.
So
You
I'm looking
playing
at
Apex Legends or were you working?
I was working. I wanted to play Apex, but I didn't get to.
Poor baby.
So we've got main stage questions. Is that where I'm looking for it, or am I looking for questions?
Main
in
stage
just main
questions,
stage?
yep.
Main stage questions. So, folks, if you have questions for any of our wonderful artists or for Dex, the channel is now open for questions. Thank you, Simon. Yay!
There's a whole like Discord channel and junk. I'm like learning all of this.
Oh, where you been? You missed the party?
Yeah, you're
A
at a
little bit.
convention. Didn't
Yeah.
you realize?
The whole
You
convention
see
here.
the hotel rooms,
Yeah.
the lobby chat and stuff.
I got locked out my room earlier.
Yeah, you lost your key.
Did they lose your luggage again?
Oh no.
My car got
All of
stolen.
it.
Oh man, all of our merch is in El Paso, ain't it?
Oh god, I remember that car incident.
Yeah, that was
So
awful.
tragic.
I remember waking up to that, like, you went out to, like, check his stuff, like, that morning. I hadn't woken up yet. And then I woke up to him on the phone with, like, just talking about how his car had gotten stolen. I was like, what the
Oh
fuck? This is
man,
real
yeah, that
life.
one.
All right,
That's a-
so we
that's a
have
good one.
we have some questions coming in. They're rolling in pretty quickly here. It Pony would like to know what the strangest request is you've ever had. Bearing in mind, of course, that we can only really share the ones that are PG-13 rated.
I once did a
Strangest
request stream where I did a
G-rated
request
request.
for 8+ characters in a single thing, and it's like, why?
It needs to be
This is a
about
request, why
20% core.
No.
Man, I don't know what my weirdest PG one would be.
It needs to be
I
about
don't really know
20%
what my
core.
weirdest not PG one is. I don't know. Every time I get like just a normal kind of like, well, I don't know. I don't know what mine would be. I'd have to think about that for a bit.
We have a question from Crushing Victory, which is how did you get used to digital drawing? Those of you who are drawing digitally.
Just did it until it wasn't as hard anymore.
Yeah,
enough.
pretty much.
Stubbornness.
Mhm.
A lot of the time. I actually started out with a mouse. I would not recommend that.
No,
So,
starting out with a mouse is
just
equivalent to murder.
get the cheapest tablet you can afford and start with that. And then just practice like your coordination, muscle, eye coordination with what you're seeing on screen. And yeah.
Yeah,
got
part of
a
a good way of practicing is trying to do your ABCs on it.
Oh,
It will turn out horrible, but you'll get better.
My tablet handwriting is still garbage.
Oh no, compared to normal handwriting, no matter what, it's going to be garbage.
My tablet handwriting is
Your
way
drawing
better
is
than my
slightly
normal.
We actually have a question related to that from Mr. Someone, which is how do you motivate yourselves to draw so much that you get better at it? You were just saying, you look at the stuff and it looks terrible. Well, how do you go from that to not sort of throwing the pencil away in disgust at your own work and finishing? How do you use that to motivate
You
yourself? to
throw
get
the
better?
pencil away, but then you go get it.
Ah, that's the trick.
I give this advice in, I swear, like every panel I do, and it's that you
Like,
got to
we
be
just
drawing
got
with your
this
friends.
same question.
Yeah, you got to be drawing with your friends. Your friends are gonna encourage you to like keep going. There's somebody that you can bounce like ideas off of, as well as critiques off of. They'll drive you to get better, and you will have fun. That's the most important part.